Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Welcome to this community of learned people. I'm Dr. Julene Mills, Interim Provost and Vice President for Academic Affairs. The Graduate Commencement exercises of Westfield State University is now in session. I would like to acknowledge our signer for today's ceremony, Ms. Danielle Smith. Housekeeping. We ask that you silence your cell phones, but we encourage you to post photos and celebratory remarks about the ceremony to Twitter and Instagram using hashtag Westfield State 2023. Please stand while our Westfield State University police officers present our nation's colors, followed by the singing of our national anthem by Dylan Lasante, class of 2023.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you, Dylan, and our WSU Color Guard for that presentation. Please be seated. It is now my pleasure to introduce Dr. Linda Thompson, Westville State University's 21st president. Dr. Thompson.
Thank you, Provost Mills. Good evening. Welcome to our graduates, their family and friends, and other supporters of Westville State University. I offer a special welcome to our trustees in attendance tonight, including the chair of our Board of Trustees, Dr. Robert Martin. Welcome also to featured speaker, Dr. Noe Ortega, Commissioner of Higher Education for the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, as well as all staff and faculty, including those mentors joining us tonight who have all played an elevated role in the education of our graduates. With every passing year, it remains a blessing to be able to meet in person, and I'm grateful to be able to see our graduate class of 2023 off as they transition into the world to pursue their dreams. Please know that your hard work, effort, and dedication are seen both by your professors and the administration at large. Each graduate who's gathered here has achieved success in reaching the high standards of our esteemed faculty. You should be all proud of your accomplishments. As a university president, I have the opportunity to meet with many people and groups, business leaders, mayors, state senators and representatives, academic leaders, consultants, nonprofit leaders, faculty, staff, administrators of higher education. My days are focused on advancing the university and filled with conversation about big ideas. But the people who give me the most inspiration are you, our students. I have had the immense honor of hearing your stories, and I've had the pleasure of getting to know many of you personally. I want to thank you for allowing me the luxury of your time and telling me what's on your mind. These interactions continue to illustrate how dedicated you are, not only to your education, but to the relationships in your lives. You all have the ability to become change agents, influencing policy, and gaining attention through social advocacy. As we move through a fast-paced, ever-changing world, it is vital that we understand the power of collaboration within a diverse and multicultural workforce. Through technological innovations, we can now immerse ourselves in work and learning environments that will have no borders. Understanding, appreciating, and practicing social justice, diversity, and inclusion will provide a strong foundation necessary to make strong, effective, and relevant contributions through teamwork. Horace Mann laid the foundation for our university 184 years ago with a broad vision of the value education has for society, with the understanding that students of any creed, color, gender, or financial status should have full access to a quality education. These tenets of humanity will continue to be part of our values and our structure and mission. Stay open-minded to learning. As processes and procedures evolve, so must you. We must have the ability to improvise and use our knowledge to solve complex problems. We must be kind, respectful, and active listeners. Show empathy and compassion. Speak up and defend those who have been marginalized. Be trustworthy and dependable. These are qualities that will build confidence in yourselves and show reason and maturity to your peers. Conveying these qualities to others will build solid relationships. These are characteristics we may have heard all of our lives, but they are very truly mattered. We can't wait to witness your future successes. Please remember, you will always have a home here. I wish all of you the best, and thank you. Now, I ask Chairman Martin to the podium to share a few words.
Thank you, President Thompson. My colleagues on the Westfield State University Board of Trustees and I are privileged to share this wonderful celebratory occasion with you, your family and friends, and Westfield State faculty and staff colleagues. Universities are always places of change. New students are introduced each year. There are new faculty and staff who are hired. And of course, there's new knowledge, new courses, sometimes even new disciplines, new methods of looking at the world. New energy is always being introduced into the system. And that makes universities exciting places to be. And yet, there are also constants around which the university is built. Our faculty and staff are a large part of the identity of the university, as much as the bricks and mortar around which the university is built. They are the pillars of the university. I'd ask the graduates to join me and the Board of Trustees in rising, if you would, to thank the faculty and staff. And if you would permit me to ask you to continue to stand, I want to note that your families and friends have also been sources of support and encouragement. Education usually is not a solitary enterprise, so please join me in thanking them as well. You can stand if you want, but now you can sit down. One of my favorite pastimes is hiking in the Adirondack Mountains of New York State, working to summit all 46 of the mountains above 4,000 feet. Depending on the season and the weather on that particular day, the hiking can be on skis and snowshoes over and through waist-deep snow, through and around muddy trails as you swat deer flies, sweating on a hot and humid day or under a poncho as you're pelted by rain, crouching low to brace yourself against the wind on an open summit, or racing off the summit with thunder and lightning in the distance. And you might wonder, why would anyone want to do that? And that's a fair question. During some of those trips, particularly at the hard times, I've asked myself that question too. But you know what? The feeling of accomplishment and exhilaration at being able to experience and see what relatively few people have the opportunity to do is unmatched. And that's what you've had at Westfield State University. You may not be hikers, but your journey over the last 2, 3, or whatever number of years has a lot of similarities to hiking. It's not always easy hiking, and the weather is not always fair. And I'm sure you've encountered obstacles and bumps along the way. In fact, the reward wouldn't feel so good if it was easy. But you got to your summits, your goals, because you were persistent and resilient. Qualities that are underrated and undervalued. Even when those conditions are not always the best, you stuck with it. On the summit now, You can look down upon what you've climbed with what I hope is immense satisfaction and pride for what you've accomplished and what you've gained along the way. I hope that view is terrific. You've earned it. The memory of that will never leave you. And you are, I hope, a changed and a better person for the educational experience that you've had at Westfield State. On behalf of the Board of Trustees, congratulations.
Thank you, Chair Martin. I now have the honor of introducing our commencement speaker, Dr. Noe Ortega, Massachusetts Higher Education Commissioner. Dr. Ortega has spent a lifetime dedicating himself to the common good by building a system of education that works for everyone. Prior to coming to Massachusetts, Commissioner Ortega served as Pennsylvania's Secretary of Education. He also served 8 years at the University of Michigan as Assistant Director and Senior Research Associate at the National Center for Institutional Diversity, and as the Managing Director for the National Forum on Higher Education for the Public Good. Commissioner Ortega earned a Bachelor of Arts in Political Science from St. Edward's University, a Master of Science in School Counseling from Texas A&M University, Corpus Christi, and his PhD in Higher Education Policy from the University of Michigan. Please join me in welcoming Massachusetts Higher Education Commissioner, Dr. Ortega.
Thank you. So I'm going to narrate what I'm doing so I can buy myself some time. I'm trying for the first time to use technology in my remarks. And then I opened the iPad a little while ago only to find out that I have 10% of my battery life left, which is a new test for me. So what I'll do is I'm going through this just so you can feel the same level of anxiety as I feel with this power shortage. I'll tell you when it goes down to 9, to 8, 7, so you can see how I'm trying to get to these remarks, right? So thank you so much. Good afternoon, Westfield State University. Thank you, President Thompson, Board Member Martin, esteemed members of the board, faculty, staff, everyone for the information to be part of this celebration today. It's probably one of the best things that I get to do in my job is to come and celebrate a commencement ceremony. I remember each time, and this one in particular, this is my first commencement ceremony in Massachusetts, and it's the first graduate one. And to me, it's an important one because I remember being in each of your seats, sitting there thinking, wow, I finished. It was a challenge, reflecting on all the people who had helped to get me there. And each time I felt like, you know, it could have been a different passage if I hadn't just done the one thing that everybody told me to do, which is to complete and finish strong, right? And then I reflect, even when I hear the introduction that was given to me, I had no idea that any of those things were in store for me. It's a shock. I was a Master's of Science student studying, as I said, counseling in the School of Education. Where are my School of Ed peeps? Yeah, right. I had no idea what was going to happen, and I don't think any of you do as well, right? So I just wanted to sort of highlight the fact that it is going to be fun. But I also want to acknowledge a few things that are important. There are parents, family, friends, significant others, partners, neighbors, pets, colleagues. I made a list that goes on and on of those who helped get you here to the finish line and supported you today. There's also the people from Westfield State who were there to support you along the way, right? Even the individuals who put on the event today. Lots of work went into what today is a much worthwhile celebration for each of you. And each one of them, when you get the chance, make sure you offer up a thanks to each person to help you get there. This is not a journey that you do on your own, but certainly one that everyone wants to share in your celebration. You know, as I said in the introduction, my name is Noe Ortega, and I have the pleasure of serving as the Commissioner of Higher Education. I introduced myself to you knowing that you're going to forget who I was at some point, probably even forget the things that I say, but you will remember this moment. This is a special moment. And when I thought about what to offer up in terms of my remarks, I wanted to do something that I wish someone had done to me when I was in your position, is to just offer up some advice on how you can make the best of it, right? And so today, I'm going to offer up a little advice that I wish someone had given to me when I was in your shoes. And I'll begin with the first one that I think is really important, because we have a tendency to compare our pathway to that of someone else's. It's just a tendency that we have. If you remember your performance in some of the classes, how often you think about how someone else was doing. How well did they do? What grade did they get? What did they write? What did their paper read like? There's this curiosity intrinsically that we have to compare ourselves. And at one point I realized that everyone's journey is going to differ. And you should find comfort in the fact that your journey is going to be different than someone else's. It's going to be full of challenges, it's going to be full of accomplishments and surprises, but in the end, it should be the journey that you're on for a reason. And that matters, because in the end, the things that you'll learn, the things that will be applied about your journey are simply because of the unique pathway that you have. Resist the temptation to compare your journey to someone else's. It's going to be extremely important when you take the next step. You're not done. There's a lot more of education that you can still go out there and get. And you often are going to find yourself in that same place again. How am I doing relative to someone else? Why does my pathway to the finish line look different? It took me up until recently to complete my final graduate degree, the terminal degree. It took me 13 years to complete that. Never gave up. But each time, I couldn't resist even myself. As I sit here offering this advice, I feel sort of like a hypocrite, because I constantly compared how long it took others to finish. So it's an important thing to keep in mind as you go through, because it's applicable in many things. Your professional trajectory will also have those challenges. Resist the temptation and know that your journey is your journey. I think one thing that's important as well as my second piece of advice, it's important to uplift others when the moment presents itself. Many of us, I think each and every one of us who have had the opportunity to succeed, it was because someone took a moment to provide us the support when we needed it the most. And you never know when that moment is, when you look around, everyone seems like they have their act together. Not always the case. It's always worthwhile to stop and figure out what you can do for someone else. I think the best advice that I've gotten from every single mentor in my life, when I don't know how to repay them for the gratitude I have for everything that they've done with me, they always say to me, play it forward. Uplift someone else and give them an opportunity to exceed, which I think is a great piece of advice to live by. Leadership, which is the path that each of you is on already, given the accomplishments that you have, is a very interesting arena. And I think when I think about all the things that people told me about leaderships, the ability to make decisions, right? The ability to understand both the people that you work with and how you're going to motivate others, the emotional intelligence, the soft skills, all those things are important. But often what people don't tell you is that in a position of leadership, where many of you will one day find yourself, it's not often that you're struggling over the decision between something that's right and wrong. Those are the easy decisions. When something is obviously right and something is obviously wrong, and you do the research and someone informs you. The problem and the challenge in leadership is when you have to decide between right and right. And that's one of the things that's really difficult. And I think you want to prepare yourself for how are you going to approach that? What is the learning that you've done now that's going to prepare you to figure out how are you going to choose between right and right? Because that really is the leadership challenge that all of you are going to find yourself. And the answers really do lie on what many of the faculty have already taught you in terms of frameworks for making decisions, but also the experiences you have along the way that will help you. That's the next piece of advice. It's a hard one to work through, but understand that that's usually where the challenges come. And as you prepare yourself, when you think about those interviews that are going to come now and in the future, you want to think about how do you prepare yourself for those kinds of leadership challenges. Recently, I had to make a decision on what the next pathway in my professional trajectory was going to be. And I relied on something that was said to me once, probably in the last decade, which has made all the difference in the way that I think about things. It was the idea that you need to understand the difference between your mission and your vision. Those things seem like they might be related, but they're absolutely not. I'll give you an example. When you think about your vision, vision is what we do, what you're already really good at. The steps that you need to get or take to move on to the next pathway, like a graduate program, like a job with upward mobility, we know what the kinds of steps are to achieve our vision. We're really good at figuring out how to scaffold, and there's a lot of people who can help you on understanding your vision. It's an important thing to focus on at the moment because it's really going to carry you and propel you and elevate you higher. What's a bit more challenging is deciding what your mission is going to be, the why. When you move into something that's a profession, and this is especially true for me when I think about education, profession has a really significant meaning. You are professing to do something for others through your chosen profession. This is a really important thing. By that, you have to really draw on the mission of the why that drew you to that. Why is it that you wanted to go into social work? Right? Why is it that this was the path that you decided to choose? How were you looking to help people? What was the difference that you wanted to make in society? What was that legacy that you wanted to leave behind? And why does it matter that you do that? And the reason why this is important is you're going to find yourself with an abundance of choice. A lot of it because of your ability to do really well in the vision and path planning that you're already that all of you are very good at. But you're going to find yourself again making decisions, and this is the idea between right and right of what you're going to do next. And at that point, your decision has to be premised on the idea of the mission that drove you into the profession. And that's extremely important. It sounds like a really easy task to do, but it's not. Particularly when you present it with a lot of options that are all good as your next step. When you're struggling to say, my God, first of all, I didn't think I was going to have this abundance of choice, and now that you do, how am I going to choose? And they're all going to come simultaneously, and you're going to have to ask your question. The vision, the work that I put in, was to lead to some greater good or some greater end. And then that's what you're going to rely on to make that next decision. 5%. Just want everyone to know how much is left. Trying to conserve the energy. So keep in mind the idea of understanding the difference between mission and vision. Next, how you talk about education is important. In my role, I represent higher education at large in Massachusetts, particularly public higher education, which is under attack. It's very interesting, right? People are questioning the benefits of post-secondary education for a number of reasons, and some of them they have a reason to. It's expensive. It takes time, right? There's a lot of questions out there about what happens, but it's our responsibility as stewards, as beneficiaries of post-secondary education to figure out how are we going to talk about it publicly when people ask us. How are you going to talk about what essentially is the mission of a public institution like Westfield State University? It's here to turn others or people into great individuals who give back to society, right? Who add to the resiliency of the Commonwealth, who do something for what, in my entire career, I've worked for the public good outcomes of higher education. That's what this means. Yes, there is a benefit that's individual around social mobility, economic mobility that you're already feeling and many of us really benefit from, but there is also the need to figure out how do you give back to that public good mission. So I asked, as you talk about the benefits of how it's benefited you, that you not forget to highlight what it does to position people to do more for the others, right? And lastly, I'll offer this, life is really just a series of moments that take place. And some of them are good, some of them are bad. Essentially, you figure out how to make the best of them, right? To really make them work for the things that are important to you and help others. But you have to make every one of them count. And that's really what people pay attention to. If someone asked me, what was the secret for the pathway that you were on to get you to where you were? I just made sure that every moment counted. I didn't think about what the end was going to be. I just made sure that I did what I thought was the right thing in the interest of others, and then the rest will kind of play itself out, right? So I'll leave you with that one as the last one to really think about how to make every single moment count. Today is really something that is about grind, grit, perseverance, all the things that got you to the finish line, and you should applaud yourself for that and thank those who played a role in helping you through that whole process, right? You've got a lot in store for you. I know you're going to make a tremendous amount of difference. 3% is what's left here. So I'm going to use this as a moment to move towards wrapping up and just say, Class of 23, thank you for indulging me today with the opportunity. Thank you for inviting me to be part of your celebration and to be the speaker that you'll never remember. And thank you for allowing me to be a guest to really enjoy this moment that's going to mark about what happens next. Congratulations to you, and good luck in the future, Class of 2023.
Thank you, Commissioner Ortega. Another round of applause for Commissioner Ortega. Each spring, a committee comprised of students, faculty, and administrators at Westville State University review nominations for the John F. Nevins Outstanding Educator Award, named after one of Westville State University's consummate educators. At this time, will the members of the awarding committee please rise to be thanked for their efforts? Dr. Sabine Klein, graduate students, Avery Bai Dickinson, graduate student Megan Benway, Professor Yolanda Bowman, and Administrative Assistant of Faculty Affairs, Kathy Carlson. A little bit about Dr. Nevins. Dr. Nevins began his career at Westville State College in 1969 and served in many roles as professor of education in both undergraduate and graduate programs, dean of undergraduate studies, vice president for academic affairs, and interim president in 1986. Dr. Nevins was the recipient of the Division of Graduate and Continuing Education's Outstanding Educator Award in 1993, later named in his memory after his death. It is an impressive and celebrated honor to receive this prestigious award. Nominees are to be commended for their place in a pool of candidates being considered for their teaching excellence. This year, we have 16 nominees. I ask that the nominees who are present this evening stand when their names are called. Please hold your applause until all names are read. Professor Beverly Army Williams. Dr. Andrew Bonacci. Dr. Joseph Camilleri. Dr. Maria Del Mar Farina de Parada. Dr. Philip Hart, Dr. Patrick Hike, Dr. Mark Horwitz, Professor Irene LaRoche, Professor Tarina Lester, Professor Maria Lataz, Dr. Princey Manella, Professor Marike Muzensky, Dr. Sophia Sarjanardis, Dr. Christine von Rennes, Dr. Catherine Walsh, and Dr. Nicole Wolford. At this time, as is our tradition, we ask our 2022 recipient of the Nevins Award to bring us remarks and announce the 2023 recipient. Please welcome Dr. Andrew Van Grove, Professor of Psychology.
Thank you, Dr. Mills. Welcome, everybody, and a special hello to all the counseling students. Met you all 3 years ago on Zoom, and here we are live. That's a good thing. And welcome all the other graduates. It's an honor to be here with you. You all made it. You're here. You crossed the finish line. You have opened doors and created new paths for yourselves. And we know that was not an easy process, as life doesn't stop because you're a grad student. In fact, it seems as though life probably got more intense as you work through your programs. The process is not easy, and we as professors observe that process. For example, we understand how exciting it was to initially receive your acceptance letter, how proud you must have felt. We see and feel your excitement on the first day of class, as well as that nervous energy for what's to come and questioning, can I really do this? Especially after we hand out the syllabus with all the work that's due. We also observe that energy starting to wane mid-semester and late semester when all the work becomes due, all at once. It's almost as if some start wilting like a plant that needs watering. However, we also observe the excitement in your eyes when learning happens. When something clicks in terms of theory and practice, when you add something to the class discussion that benefits all, when you work to your potential and your potential is recognized by those around you and within yourselves, which to me is the most important part, and when you become surprised by your potential because you just did something, whether it was a presentation, a role play, a scholarly paper, an exam, and you did it better than you ever thought you could. And you did all this while life continues on. We have watched you work through your programs with the stuff of life happening all around us. And we sit in class, we watch you get married, you watch people give birth, we watch people have deaths in their family, divorces, holidays, parenting issues, housing issues, and of course health-related issues. That's a lot. It takes a lot of drive and focus to complete your programs. And as we all know, the work just keeps coming despite the stuff of life. You have opened doors and created new paths for yourselves. You have created new conditions for learning as you move forward. During your time with us, we observed your confidence grow. We watched you make changes. We watched you become different. It's priceless. Thank you for that. Speaking of being different, what was that mantra in that theories of counseling class? Thank you. I was counting on that. How can I be different? Yes, that is our mantra. In terms of counseling, it means how can I connect with this person in front of me in a way that is different from what they have experienced? How can I avoid saying the same old thing that anyone can say? How can I really listen to their stories so they feel understood on a deep level? Challenging for sure. The following quote by the comedian Robin Williams has helped me to be more compassionate and understanding of those around me, and I offer it to you as you move forward. Robin stated, "Everyone you meet is fighting a battle you know nothing about. Be kind always." How can I be different also means just what it says. How can I change? How can I be a better person? I think it takes self-awareness to change. It also takes action and courage to change. You, meaning graduate students, are all here because you made the decision to change your lives by working hard through tough times and earning your degrees. You were aware that you needed something different, and you were courageous to follow your hearts and to trust yourself in order to reach your goals. I believe that degrees and licenses open doors for us to move through. So, if you're brave enough to knock on that door, and if you're brave enough to walk through that door, then different things will happen. By earning your degree and doing something different, you've created new paths to explore, new adventures to follow. I'd like to conclude by sharing some brief words of wisdom from two different songs. The first 4 lines are written by Robert Hunter. The second 4 lines are written by John Barlow and Bob Weir. There is a road, no simple highway, between the dawn and the dark of night. And if you go, no one may follow. That path is for your steps alone. Fairly well now, let your life proceed by its own design. Nothing to tell now, let the words be yours. I'm done with mine. Safe adventures. And now it is my distinct honor to announce that the 2023 Nevins Award recipient is Dr. Nicole Woolford, Assistant Professor of Social Work. Dr. Woolford earned her Master's of Science in Clinical Psychology and her Master's of Social Work from San Francisco State University and her Doctorate of Clinical Social Work from Smith College School for Social Work. She has been a member of the Westfield State University community since 2019. It is clear that Dr. Woolford exemplifies the qualities of leadership and commitment to students that Dr. Nevins values. The students who nominated Dr. Woolford for this award attested to her commitment, expertise, thoroughness, concern with student learning, and the impact she has made at Westfield State University. In the words of one student, she does not disappoint. Every week, the course shell is full of relevant, thought-provoking material. In every class, she is beyond organized and passionate about the subject. I have never felt more challenged. She has opened my eyes and made me dig deeper. I knew policy was important, but I have learned so much, more than I have ever expected. She is truly brilliant. A second student relates, Professor Woolford is highly skilled at sparking the critical thinking and dialogue in his synchronous class sessions and in online discussions and class assignments. She is passionate about social justice and turning students into agents for change in the community. A third student cited her concern for student well-being, her diplomatic approach, and her impact as an educator at Westfield. Professor Woolford maintains a habit of checking in with the class and acknowledging where people are emotionally while encouraging students as a whole. At the beginning of each term, she framed the class such that students could assess themselves in relation to others in the regard of intersectionality, belief systems, and experience. This set a tone that supported productive and respectful conversation ongoing. Having Professor Woolford for my first term of graduate school was a win for me and for Westfield, as her excellence reassured me that I made a good decision in choosing Westfield and would be appropriately educated and challenged while working to make a career change. I strongly endorsed her for her distinguished award. Please join me in congratulating Dr. Woolford.
Are we ready? Are we ready? The time has come. Esteemed guests, friends, and relatives, it is with great pride that Westfield State University recognizes the exceptional accomplishments and future promise of the class of 2023. Each of today's graduates will receive an academic hood from a faculty mentor. Today's academic hood has its origins in the clerical attire worn by medieval scholars. It continues to signify achievement, success in your academic program, and a milestone in your life. All graduates, as you approach the stage, you'll be handed your degree. You'll then walk to the center of the stage to receive your hood. After you receive your hood, we ask that you return to your seat. So, one more time, are we ready? Will the candidates for the Master of Arts in Applied Behavior Analysis please rise? Will the candidates for the Master of Arts in English please rise? Will the candidates for the Master of Arts in Counseling please rise? Will the candidates for the Master of Education please rise? Will the candidates for the Master of Public Administration please rise? Will the candidates for the Master of Science in Accounting please rise? Will the candidates for the Master of Science in Criminal Justice please rise? Will the candidates for the Master of Science in Physician Assistant Studies please rise? And last, will the candidates for the Master of Social Work please rise? President Thompson.
Chair Martin, I have the honor of presenting these candidates for their graduate degrees. These candidates have completed their prescribed courses of study and have been examined and recommended by the faculty to the Board of Trustees. They have met the approved requirements for their degree. Chair Martin, I now ask that you confer on these candidates the respective degrees for which they are qualified.
By virtue of the authority vested in the Board of Trustees, Commonwealth of Massachusetts, I hereby confer on each of you the degree for which you've been recommended and admit you to the rights, honors, and responsibilities pertaining to them.
Hello, I am Dr. Gabriel Aquino. I am the Associate Dean for the School of Criminology, Psychology, Social Justice, Public Policy, and the graduate programs, and I have the honor of providing you the names of the graduates. At this time, would all graduates except the first row please seat? Now presenting the candidates for the Masters of Arts in Applied Behavior Analysis. Adeyoni Soeli. Kelly Stockwell. Now presenting the candidates for the Masters of Arts in Counseling. Mentor is Dr. Andrew Van Grove. John Ward. Audrey Jones. Joy Maroki. Carissa Massacott. Elizabeth Gallagher. That was Dr. Joe Camilleri. And Dr. Lori Simpson will hood Jason Stephen Phillips. Dr. Maria Latasse will hood Madison O'Shea. Madison Spillers. Kaylee Von Hollander. Now Dr. Rebecca Burwell will hood Kayla Brown. Dr. Robert Hayes will hood Samantha Charette. Austin LaFrance. Ryan McArdle. Marissa Spina. Taylor Reynolds. Brianna Wetherell. Professor Matthew Robinson will hood Andrew Sadowski. Kerry Doldorian. Samuel Howard. Jennifer Montagna. Jordana Fanyon. Kayla Tonucci.
One more, Matt.
Professor Tamara Crenshaw will now hood Nina Mendez. David Franklin. Now presenting the candidates for the Masters of Arts in English. Dr. Catherine Savini will hood Brittany Jocelyn. Dr. Jennifer DeGracia will hood Sharon Silva. Francis Walsh. Dr. Sofia Saguianandez will now hood Amber Robert. Now presenting the candidates for the Masters of Education. Dr. Arnie Christensen will hood Robert Himmelwright. Christopher Olson. Dr. Miriam Tager will now hood Sarah Supernaut. Alexandria Greenwood. Bridget Nobbs. Dr. Megan Kennedy will now hood Olivia Diamond. Tiffany James. Shannon Sullivan. Julianne Cordena. Michael Ogione. Mohammed Zachary Yaman. If you're tall, just bend the knees a little bit. Dr. Sandra Berkowitz will now hood Bethany Johnson. Dr. Nicholas Ayeda will now hood Timothy Ellis. Dr. Christian Von Renice will now hood Nathan Paquette. Dr. Heidi Bowler will now hood Elizabeth Marcy Own-Iak. Dr. Robert Rausch will now hood Nathan Bergeron. Victoria Camp. Hannah Florick. Dr. Sandra Berkowitz will now hood Alyssa Costa. Nicolette Lavoie. Caitlin Sulukina. Mackenzie Cohane. Dr. Megan Kennedy will now hood Lily Busa. Bradley Harvey. I almost want to mispronounce that one, just for fun. Dr. Tracy McLeod will now hood Grace Campbell. Professor Donald Jarvis will now hood Katrina Alves. Kyle Bostrom. Joseph Brewer. Valerie Martin. Rebecca Torcia. Now presenting the candidates for the Masters of Public Administration. Hooding Dr. Kimberly Tobin, Ryan Roush. Adriana Urena. Professor Michelle Wolf will now hood Lindsay Carroll. Dr. Charles DeStefano will now hood Donald Ganley IV. Christy Raymond. Alexander Meissner. Now presenting the candidates for the Masters of Science in Accounting. Hooding Dr. Erin Moore, Mia McDonald. Molly Scasey. Now presenting the candidates for the Masters of Science in Criminal Justice. Hooding will be Dr. Kimberly Tobin, Ben Wisniewski. Dr. Lisa Barrow will hood Morita Hernandez. Dr. Christopher Kudlak Wilhood Kumar Brown. Alexander Burkhart. Quentin Copeland. Jonathan Dowell. Danielle Deck. Megan Doyle. Versalyn Edwards. Edward Gauthier. Hunter Hassett. Cameron Hutchins. Alexis Kinney. Kayla Lacey. LaChu Rai. Andrea Sibilio. Jordan Smith. Dominique Wise. Sadie Wood. Sydney Hebert. Now presenting the candidates for the Masters of Science in Physician Assistant Studies. Dr. Subin McDarmond is going to Hood. Jennifer Bonus. Emily Sevigny. Gloria Mushia. Professor Jessica Marchese will hood Stephanie Gleason. Aaron Petra. I should have said A. Aaron. Now presenting the candidates for the Masters of Social Work. Dr. Jennifer Propp will hood Fiona Marie O'Sullivan. Allende? Allende. No, in Spanish. Olivia Allende. Daniel Osvaldo Perez. Theo Shantz. Dr. Catherine Walsh will now hood William Green. Luis Diaz Rivera. Monju Gu Rong. Allison Kilty. Bree Malone. Dennis Meehan. Ashley O'Brien. Amber White. Mike Thomas. Anjali Tyner. Dr. Sublim Abukari will now hood Tayana Ropel. Dr. Mark Horowitz will now hood Rondol Bousset. Alexandra G. Oquinto. Jessica Healy. Brianna Higgins Wapshanak. Legata Laporte. It's going to be in Spanish. Veronica Rodriguez. Be glad this one won't be in Spanish. Rachel Slack. Carrie Slattery. Ashley Gurin. Kelsey Kiara Stewart. Dr. Maureen Clark will now hood Sarah Bridges. Victoria Brown. Adam Cutter. Haley Meissner. Kumbirai O'Shea. Nala Watson. Megan Messenger. Farida Mohammed. Dr. Michelle Williams will now hood Megan Benway. Kiersis Canela Santos. Randy Garon. Dr. C.J. Van Wright will now hood Kirstine Richardson. Michaela White. Dr. Nicole Wolford will now hood Jared Cherney.
Got it in one, thank you.
Lauren Healy. Johnny Lease. Heather Manarino. Carrie Robinson. Ethan Borchetta Platt. Jelena Ramiu. Queen Shaw. Dr. Nora Pariukula will now hood Riley Goulet. Julia Mosichok Samal. Nawar T4. Dr. Rose Sullivan will now hood Lily Oliver. Jasmine Quinones. Caitlin Valencia. Dr. Sunday Funkunmoyo will now hood Aaron Seor. Professor Maureen McCartney will now hood Melissa Toledo. Paris Wilkie. Professor Seth Dunn will now hood Dahan Arid Robinson. Arid Robinson. Callie Kuvoy A. Akakis. Allison Clappinger. Sean Mears. Stephanie Queety. Quetti. Stephanie Quetti. I want to say this in Spanish so bad. I know, but I wanted to say it in Spanish. Patricia Seguro. Professor Shannon Hicks will hood Sarah Colt. Professor Stanley Shapiro will now hood Brooke Brindle. Charmaine Gibbs. Dr. Maria del Mal Farina will now hood Ana Baez. Anne Marie Bailey. Guiada Bermúdez López. Journey Bryant. Seth Calabal. Wyatt Caswell. Tatiana Correa. Yolanda Davis. Tony Diaz. Alessandra Frank. Aaron Hall. Holly Harvey. Jillian Jakes. Do you want that? Christine Weber. Rachel Krukas. Ariana Larson. Samantha Lavalle. Terry O'Toole. Christopher Ray. Chris Nicole Reyes Torres. Nathan Richards. Shannon Ryan. Cameron Saracena. Mariah White. Deborah Banks. Vanadi Kyles. Vanity Kyles. Tamara Schlesinger. Yep. And for criminal justice, Dr. Chris Kudlak, Will Hood, Dominique Wise.
So I would like all graduates to please rise. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the graduates of the class of 2023. Hey.
Thank you, President Thompson. Congratulations, class of 2023. I know you're ready to go, right? Not just yet, not just yet. We have one more rite of passage. So, I would remind our graduates and our guests, graduates, please be seated. I promise this won't take too long, and you're gonna love this. So, our final speaker of the night is from our class of 2013. Please help me welcome Megan Bishop, the Alumni President, of which you are now a part of.
Good evening, everyone, and I would like to start by congratulating you on behalf of the entire Westfield State Alumni Association. It's a huge accomplishment, and 10 years ago today, I was sitting where you are. I was being welcomed to the world of Westfield State alum, and I understand that you have been hardworking and dedicated and passionate to get here. I mean, you should be so proud of yourself. Now, you are about to join the over 41,000 Westfield State alumni across the Commonwealth and around the world. And for some of you, this isn't your first time. I welcome you to this group on behalf of the entire association and the Executive Council. Wherever you go, whatever you do, you will always be an owl and an alumnus of Westfield State. I hope that this is the beginning of a new chapter in your relationship with Westfield State University. I encourage you, stay engaged, stay involved, stay active. An easy way to do that, give us a quick follow at Westfield State Alumni on Facebook and Instagram. We love to see your posts too, so let's all share together. I encourage you to help pave the road for the next generation of students, and I encourage you to share your Westfield experience with others. You will find the Westfield State Alumni Network is vast, not to mention passionate, and you may be surprised by how often you meet a fellow alum, sometimes in the most unlikely of places. Tonight you are graduating from Westfield State University, but know that Westfield will always be home and you will always be an owl. To be sure you're able to carry the owl spirit with you, you will receive a gift from us in academic affairs as you leave today. We welcome you to the Alumni Association and cannot wait to see what you do next.
Thank you, Megan, for those really wonderful words. Class of 2023, alumni, are we ready? As tonight's ceremony concludes, I ask that we keep the aisles clear so that the platform party, faculty, and graduates recess. It is my honor to welcome you to the Alumni Association, and it is also my honor to thank you for spending your time with us. We know you had options, but you chose Westfield State for your graduate degree. And for that, we are thankful and we appreciate, and we cannot wait to see how you represent us in the world today. So, again, it is my honor to announce that the Graduate Commencement of Westfield State University, Class of 2023, is now adjourned.